Did y'all see that they got the thing out for no taxes for gas and food? It was just on the news.
Illinois took the 1% grocery tax off.
Yes.
It started
today.
Today, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's why Walmart was so busy?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I went to Snooks. I just came from Snooks. The line was so far back. That line was all the way back. You know where the milk is?
Yeah.
That's where the line
all
was.
the way back there, huh?
That's where it was.
Oh,
the milk and orange juice back there in the corner.
Like an hour ago, and I'm like, wow, it's really busy today.
It's not busy now. I just left there. You know, it's crazy, man, how society has changed. Over all the years when I was coming up, you never had to worry about that. You had good food, good friends, good neighbors. You got your ass whooped by your neighbor, too, sometimes, if you got out of line. You know, when we was coming up, they taught us to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Mm-hmm. You know, you was going to say your respect. We went to church every Sunday. Had a suit. She'd go to Montgomery Wards and get the pattern, cut it out, and make a suit for us to wear for Easter.
Life. My mom was a seamstress.
Yes.
We went to church every Sunday.
Yes, and said the Easter speech.
We had a community of neighbors that looked out for each other. Mm-hmm. It was different then.
Yes, yes. Because you can go to any neighbor house. If you're hungry, they're going to feed you. You understand? Yeah. If they see you down the street and you clowning, you ain't got to worry about it. Your mama already knows she's going to tear that tail up when you get home. She ain't playing with you. She know.
Yeah. You get your ass whooped by your friend's parents, and then they call your parents and be like, hey, I just whooped his ass because they did this.
Yeah, and when you
get your ass whooped again by
when you
your
get home.
parents.
That's right. That's right. But you know, nowadays, you can't whoop your kids.
Yeah,
it was a law came in effect when they told you can't whoop your kids. I remember when they used to whoop your ass at school. That was abuse. You understand? So they killed it. You know what I'm saying? How you going to abuse someone else's child? You know, you going to whoop my child ass? Okay, I'm coming to school and beat your ass. How that sound?
They killed that when I was coming out of 5th grade. Because when I was in 5th grade, I used to get paddled at least twice a month by the principal. And then when I got out of 5th grade is when they killed that from then on.
Yeah. I done seen some principals get their ass whooped. And then our principal got broke arm too.
No,
you know, by one man I know. And then I seen a couple more. You understand? White guys. It wasn't a black guy now that whooped his ass all the time. It was white guys went up there and whooped their ass because they was just like us. They lived the same way we did. They scraped from the ground.
Right.
All of them had gardens. You understand? All of them believed in fishing. Boy, they used to have contests of who got the best garden a year. You understand? The old man used to come around with a tiller, and he used to till yours for $3. He gonna till you a line. You understand? Some lines, and I'm talking about nice till. And you know, he always was careful where the pipes were. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, sometimes you got sewer lines down there in them pipes. You have to be careful, especially when you're in city limits. So everybody had a thing. My grandmama, man, had grapes, any kind of fruit, any kind of berry. She had raspberry, blueberries. What's those little bitty things?
Choke cherries or
the one you pull them off.
I know what you're talking about. Damn.
They're
not persimmons.
We had cinnamon.
They have stripes on them.
Yes.
I know what you're talking about.
We had mint. A leaf of mint. You could break a leaf of mint and taste the mint in it. You know those things you can't have. You don't see no more. You don't see nature like that no more, man. It's crazy.
And how much of that is our fault?
It's ours. It's ours. But you have to
realize. We're supposed to carry on the traditions.
That's true. Families aren't what they used to be no more, man.
Well, that's one of the reasons I took my kids back to church.
That's right.
Is I'm their earthly father, and it's my responsibility. When I talk to God after I die, I don't want him saying, "Hey, what happened?"
Yes.
Why didn't you take your girls to church? You know better than that.
You know one thing about it, man, when it comes to that, you know, a lot of us believe strongly that you have to obligate your time to the Lord and your family at the same time. You can't
first,
yes, at the same time. Exactly. That's valid. That's a valid point.
Yeah.
And I can have no arguments about that. Now tell me this here. Now, when we talk about children and family, there's a lot of broken homes out there, man.
There is.
There's a lot of broken homes for several reasons. And I'm going to give you a few. You got drugs, which is one of the number one to ruin all families. You have alcohol to ruin families. You understand what I'm saying? You got abusiveness, man and woman.
Yes.
Man
I'm so
and
glad you
woman.
said that.
So therefore,
And abuse can be emotional.
Exactly.
Abuse can be breaking you down. It doesn't have to be a punch in the face.
exactly. So when you out here dealing with stress, think about those. Just got it worse than you. It might change your mind
You
about
really
stress.
got it.
Yeah, exactly.
You really got it. And we got to look out for these kids that don't have fathers.
Yes, kids always want a role model. They want someone to look up to. But when you say a role model, man, there should not be no blemishes. When you go messing with these kids, and these kids believing in you, and then 5 or 6 months or 7 months down the line, you done got your ass in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, what can you say then? When you take on that role have nothing negative in it to give anyone
Sure.
as a role model. Nothing negative. Nothing.
You know, I got a story about that, if you don't mind.
Well, tell me about it.
So when I was about 8 years old, I was living in Houston with my mother, and my dad was living in Carbondale with his wife, my mother, and he was missing me. So he enrolled. He was on the GI Bill. He was going to school, and he was teaching at SIU Carbondale.
That's when y'all had a suck-ass basketball team.
Okay, not our concern. However,
Salukis.
what he did was, since he was missing me, he became a big brother.
Okay.
And he became a big brother to this kid. He didn't have a father in the home.
Under his
There were
tutelage.
several other children in the home. It was
Under his tutelage, though.
well, I mean, what'd he do? They give him a few dollars and he'd like take him to a ball game or take him to fishing or, just to have a man in his life.
Support.
And my dad is really good at that. Well, then he got, on my 9th birthday, I went to live with him. They went and got me from Houston, and I moved to Carbondale. And he still kept doing it. He would bring me with him. And I got to see how this kid lived, which is exactly how I lived when I was with my mother. Actually, this kid had it better because he had food in the house. There ain't no food in my house.
Let me tell you, when you talk about food in your house, I got a story about that. I remember when I I'm a felon. Am I proud of it? No. Was I starving? Yes. Was I supposed to allow my family to starve? Fuck you. No. I'm not going to let my family starve for no man. You understand? Whatever you have to do and whatever it takes. It doesn't mean that it has to be illegal, but whatever it do to make your family safe and complete, man is supposed to do. You have a lot of men missing out in this world because they chose to do things differently instead of going to get a job and hustling out here. So much money out here and so many opportunities. I failed to realize that because drugs was a big part of my life. The biggest part of my life. I wasn't able to dress good or ride good if it wasn't for, you understand, drugs.
Hey, let me ask you something. Did you ever get hooked on drugs?
Yes, I did. Everybody had an addiction. Okay. We all had addiction.
Okay. I just didn't know. I mean, sometimes
we all had addiction.
Sometimes you get hooked on the money, and you see what's happening to your clients, and you don't touch it.
Now the thing is this here. See, we all say, we drug dealers. All drug dealers have a habit, whether it's from smoking blunts,
right,
smoking cigarettes, drinking. There's a trait. It's called, to me, I call it the 5 trays. In one line, you got drugs. Next line, you got alcohol. Next line, you got cigarettes. But let's put it in order. You got a marijuana and alcohol. They go together. Heroin.
Beautifully.
Heroin.
Cigarettes too.
Heroin goes together with a cigarette. They want a cigarette in their mouth after they take a nod. Cocaine, where you running to? You can't sit still. You're always trying to chase that first hit. Or you always think you're going to chase that blunt one. When you get through rolling that motherfucking joint, you want to see them red rock. You want to see them rocks in there that turn orange. People begging you for your roaches because they so filled. You used to give a motherfucker 20s the size as their thumbnails. You understand what I'm saying? Life was serious back then.
I wish I knew you back then.
money was so great. People back then didn't do the shit that they doing now. Ratting. Where the fuck they get that from? They mom and daddy should have their ass whooped to allow their child to open their mouth to them people. People don't have no cases unless they open their mouth.